Shalom, real quick, giving all praise to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushua, Bashem Rakakwada, Shalom to the 144,000, the rest of the elect up there, Shalom to you all. I'm going to make this quick. This is, well, the title of this video is, or will be, what's the definition of the word city or citizen? Citizen. So now this guy that appears to be an Edomite, one of them evangelicals, he's going to go into Babylon the Great being a city. And then later in the video he says, we know it's not America because America's not a city, it's a country. So I'm going to let it play from here. I just want to make this quick. I don't want to play the whole video. So this was put up by Soldier of Yahweh, Yahushai. Revelation 18 is talking about America, not a single city. So what you're going to find out is America is a city. It's just a large city. A city is as large as its citizens, right? People say, I'm a citizen of the world. They made the world a city. Let's go ahead and play it.
Christians have no clue on how to treat.
Christians have no clue as the pride. I've been saying that. Christians don't understand the prophecies. That's trending.
Really break these things down, and that's why, you know, the Lord set us up. All right, so without further ado, I'm gonna play it from here, and y'all gonna hear the point of what I'm trying to say, or the point of what I'm making, I'd rather say.
They went on further, verse 19, then they threw dust.
Let me rewind it a little bit, maybe like 30 seconds.
And linen, purple, and scarlet merchandise. They just lost their business.
And he's talking about Revelation 18, by the way. He's at verse 15.
And this is the merchant city, by the way. China would be dead if it wasn't for America. America would be dead if it wasn't for China. Exports that come from China and imported into America, and the consumers that's in America. People are consumed. You know why they can't? There was a point where if you had a credit card, you were something special. Now anybody can get a goddamn credit card. And people go into debt because they didn't got the money to pay for furniture or whatever. I remember the Rent-A-Center. I don't know if it's out there in America, but I know in the New York area, at the Rent-A-Center, they went out of business because Jake would rent a TV and full. By the time if the TV was $1,000, by the time he finished paying for it, he paid like $5,000-$6,000 on it. So what Americans do, they're consumers. They'll buy shit. And that's why China became rich. So this is a merchant city, mercantile, World Trade Center.
And they will say that great city that was clothed in fine linen, purple and scarlet, and adorned with gold and precious stones and pearls.
Talking about America, the wealth of America.
For in 1 hour such great riches came to nothing.
And that's going to be the ICBM missiles shot from various places around the world. 5,000 square miles.
Look at that. Every shipmaster, all who travel by ship, sailors, and as many as trade of the sea.
The stuff that we buy at the Costco's, the BJ's, the Targets, the big box stores, the medium box stores, the furniture. When you go to buy furniture, you go to the name brand furniture store, Big Bob's or whatever the fuck. There's many different furniture stores that furniture comes from, mainly China. So that's talking about America.
He stood at a distance. Y'all see this? And cried out when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying,
they're seeing America on fire. That's going to be breaking news around the planet.
What is like this great city? They went on further, verse 9.
It ain't talking about Atlantic City. It ain't talking about Las Vegas. It's talking about America. And I'm going to prove to you that a city is as big as its citizens. So he's going to make a statement. He said, well, it ain't talking about America. People say it's America. Well, America's not a city, it's a country. Well, I got something for you.
18, then they threw dust on their heads, and they cried out, weeping and wailing and saying, that great city in which all who had ships on the sea became rich by her wealth. Look at this. Wow. For in
what one city are ships around the world coming to bring exporting goods to a particular city. No, the goods shipped from around the world are on a cargo ships, merchant marines. The stuff that we get every day, it comes mainly from the West Coast, from China. The ships come from China to the West Coast, and then trucks and trains bring it from the West Coast all the way to the East Coast. And you also have ships that come from to the east of the United States. But the main amount of ships come from China, which is the east coming to our west. So it's a bunch of ships ain't going to no one city. It's going to a major city, which is actually a country. And I'm going to prove that.
In 1 hour, she is made desolate.
In 1 hour, talking about, and this Babylon the Great is talking about America. It's not talking about one specific city. Whereas it's going to be destroyed in 1 hour.
Well, it is talking about one specific city. It's talking about America. America is a city. Is it a country? Yes, but it's also a city.
Okay, because first and foremost, with the technology that's out today, when it comes with the weaponry that the Lord has set forth, all right, whether it's specifically with the ICBM thermonuclear missiles and the power, if you will, of an ICBM thermonuclear missile. One ICBM missile can destroy Dallas in less than an hour. Matter of fact, let's have some fun with this. Right? Let's go here. Let's see how quickly can one ICBM thermonuclear missile warhead destroy one city like Dallas, for example. Let's just see what it says. I'm curious to see. Look at this. It says the initial catastrophic destruction from a single intercontinental ballistic missile thermonuclear warhead would occur within seconds to minutes of detonation, effectively leaving a large portion of a city like Dallas in under 20 seconds. Under 20. So you got a city, if there was an ICBM thermonuclear missile that hit, all right, in Dallas, Texas, and Dallas is a big city. I'm thinking of major cities. Like you got Dallas, Los Angeles, New York, so on and so forth. Houston, whatever, right? You got major cities, right? It says nanosecond. The destruction occurs in distant phases, with the most immediate and severe effects happening almost instantaneously. Nanoseconds. The warhead detonates, creating a fireball with temperature similar to the center of the sun. That's nanoseconds. And then within seconds, right? Powerful pulse goes through. You can read this on your own time. Then after, within 10 minutes to hour, that's when you had a radioactive fallout. But within seconds, the whole city will be destroyed. So watch what this guy says, because he's saying he's honing in on this word city here, right?
Now, whoever this city, and I'm not trying to get into this whole thing about Mystery Babylon, but
yeah, he's not trying to get into it because he doesn't know. Because here it is. This is another thing, right? If these theologians and these so-called Christians have to, if they admit, all right, that Babylon the Great is America, then ultimately you would have to conclude the fact that America will be destroyed. Your precious US of A in this world, in this system as you know it, has to go down, and America has to be destroyed before the kingdom of heaven is ushered in. Before Yahweh, in order for Yahweh Shai to reign, America would have to be destroyed, if you believe that America is Babylon the Great. You see, but they don't want to accept the fact that America is Babylon the Great because hell, that this is what they know. They think that these so-called theologians and these Christians and these so-called apologists, they don't really want this system to end. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever as well. But in order for righteousness to reign, this system has to fall. Okay? And they don't want to accept that.
I will say this, here's another clue. Whoever this city is, whoever this mystery Babylon is that is destroyed in 1 hour, it was so wicked. It was so wicked that it committed abominations.
What made America great was putting Jake in slavery and taking his land. This is not a wicked place. They keep saying, "Well, God bless America." How can the God bless America when all you did was wickedness from your very beginning?
It spread its fornication around the world, and it was guilty of the bloodshed of the apostles. Because look at this.
That's what you did to Jake when it came. You killed, I don't know how many native you killed in North Canada, the U.S., Central and South America. How many Jakes coming from West Africa on slave ships, how many were lost in the Middle Passage? How many died in the halls of the ship? How many women were raped and killed? How many were killed in slavery, died of sicknesses? Your master decided to kill a guy. We went through literal hell. But nah, it ain't a wicked. This is your foundation. Babylon's foundation is wickedness, utter wickedness.
Rejoice over her, O heaven, and you holy apostles and prophets, for God has avenged you on her.
You see that? And what city, great city, is responsible for that? If you just want to limit it to one city, what city would it be? Is it a city across the pond? Is it in England? No. Is it in? No. It's.
And we're talking about from your inception. We're talking about Christopher Columbus coming to the Americas, a new world. George Washington. Well, he wasn't the first president. He was one president. You had a Jake president, John Henson. You had Jake's ruling this shit. They had to learn how to rule by Jake. Jake was in a ruling class mentality. So the great George Washington, that great American, he had slaves.
Talking about America. You see? Because the prophets collectively, on a larger scale, would be in America, in Babylon the Great in the latter days, man. Remember whenever in Acts, the 1st chapter, Yahushua said that we would prophesy on the uttermost parts of the world, which that uttermost part of the world is talking about the far west, here in America. Remember, the scripture says that Judah and Israel would be in captivity together. When in history was Judah and Israel in captivity together? It wasn't during the Babylonian Empire. Okay, it wasn't during the Greco-Roman Empire. It wasn't during the Medo-Persian Empire. You know, it wasn't during the Roman Empire. The time where the Northern Kingdom and the Southern Kingdom were in captivity together was here in America. Okay? You had the northern tribes that were already here, and you read about the northern tribes coming to the Americas in 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter. All right? Where they came by way through the Euphrates, and they came over here to a land where never mankind dwelt. Okay, then you also had what? You had the southern kingdom, Judah, that came over here via the cargo slave ships, alluding to Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, the 68th verse. But once again, they don't know this. They can't break these things down. You see? And here in America, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is where the great awakening took place. Okay? Like it says that after 3 days and a half, which is 350 years, their dead bodies shall enter into them. You know, the dead bodies, the spirit of life entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, a great army. And what? Fear fell upon them which saw them. And this is talking about here in America. Now let's continue. Because remember, he said, whoever this city is, we don't know. This is mystery Babylon. Whoever this city is, they don't know.
So that's a whole other study. You could do what you want with that, but I just gave you some pretty.
Because he doesn't have the answers.
Pretty big clues on who, if you want to do your own research on this, who is this mystery Babylon? Because I know, guys, I'm not dumb. I know people say it's America. And again, I'm going to say this.
Okay, so it's out there. He said, I know there's people out there that say it's America. Whether he talking about us or others. There's certain Edomite evangelicals that teach that Babylon is America. We did videos on that.
Yes, and I'm going to move on. America is a nation, not a city. Mystery Babylon is a city that's destroyed in 1 hour. Again, you can't make it. You can't make this. You can't make your interpretation fit in the scripture
You can't make this fit, so you must acquit.
when it doesn't fit. That's a big no-no right there. If it says city, you got to stick with a city, not a nation. So let me
Okay, so he said if it says a city.
Now I'm gonna go and bring this out, and then I'll let it continue to play. This is a short one. So here we go. This is what I did. Very simple. I went to Google. I put in define the word citizen. And America can't be a city. It's a country. Citizen dictionary. Oxford language. Learn more. Citizen, a person who belongs to a particular country. Is America a country? A country is also a city. You have citizens of a country. You have citizens of Venezuela, right? You have the word citizen, you get the word city. A city is as big as a people. You have small cities and you have big cities, right? Right? Can a whole continent or country be a city? Absolutely. It's based. Aren't you called U.S. citizens? So what are you a citizen of? Of the United States. The United States, that means you can go from New York to New Jersey to Pennsylvania to Georgia, and you don't have to bring out a passport because you're within that city. So for you to say that, you don't understand words. It said a person who belongs to a particular country, state, or commonwealth. Puerto Rico is considered a city, but it's a commonwealth of a larger city. Actually, Puerto Rico is pretty much part of Babylon, although that's not going to be destroyed because it's not the contiguous United States by birth or naturalization. You don't come to this country from another country and you're a citizen of New York. No, you're a citizen of the United States, and then you move to California, so you're a citizen of California, and has legally recognized rights, which is the Constitution, and duties as a member of that entity. A Polish citizen. The word citizen is come from the word city, which means what? It means a body of people on the land. So can America be a city? You goddamn right. Let me read it again. A person who be a citizen. Define the word citizen. Citizen. A person who belongs to a particular country, state, or commonwealth by birth or naturalization. You're born in a country, legally you're a citizen of the United States. If you're born in another country, you come to this country, you apply to be a citizen, you swear, you take the test, and you swear the Constitution and all that, and then you become a naturalized citizen. See, that's why there are certain Mexicans and Latin tribes that can't get because they were born here, or some of them became citizens. The ones that came in illegally, that's the ones that they're getting. But anybody that think they think look like one of them Latin tribes, they're grabbing them up. So, which shows you that the president threw out the Constitution, because you just can't roll up on nobody. They're protected by the 4th and 5th Amendment. Because if they ask you, are you an American citizen, you don't got to tell them nothing because you have a 5th Amendment. You have the right to remain silent and not to be a witness against yourself. Anything you say or do can be held against you in a court of law. So if you say, no, I'm not a citizen, okay, boom, lock them up. I'm not going to tell you. So now they have to wonder. They can't move unless they find out your status. But they're going beyond the Constitution. Trump threw the Constitution out the window. There's no more Constitution. There's no more Constitution. Martial law. We're in martial law. He's talking about evoking. The word is evoke. Evoke the what do you call it? The not the Posse Comitatus Act, the Insurrection Act. He's talking about doing that, and that's martial law. That means the Constitution is suspended. They can grab you up and do whatever. They can bend you over. Them ICE agents can bend little girls over and pop them. And they, what did J.D. Vance say? They have a total immunity. That means they can do anything. They can rape little girls, rape little boys, chop babies' heads off. They can do whatever the fuck they want, and they have total immunity, which is not even lawful. And I guess he's supposed to be a lawyer. You have what's called what is it called? There's another term for it. I was going through it the other day, but nobody has. That means the president could do. That means the president can take a little 4-year-old baby and rape that baby on TV, and you can't do nothing. Nobody has complete and total immunity or qualified immunity. That's something else. That means there's a limit to what a cop can do. So let's come on. So I showed you what a citizen is. So can America be a citizen? A city? Yes. Read the definition again. Let's go.
City, you got to stick to it. You got to stick to it being a city and not a nation. So he's honed in on this mystery Babylon being specifically a city and not a nation, because he doesn't want America to be destroyed. Because he knows that if America is mystery Babylon, then America is going to be on fire. He knows that. You know. And this is Apostle Tahar's, one of his favorite chapters to go into, because these Christians can't break these things down. Now let's get a
and it's a very simple. It's one of the easiest chapters as far as prophecy is concerned to memorize. Like, once it's broken down to you, you should just get it. Boom.
Let's get a few quick precepts real fast. So let's get Lamentations 1. Let's get Lamentations 1:1, right? So this is just an example, right? Lamentation 1:1. Now this is going into the destruction of Jerusalem. Now this is not just talking about just the city of Jerusalem, but this goes into more so the nation of Israel as a people here, right? How doth the city sit solitary that was full of people, right? How has she become as a widow? So this nation, because the city of Jerusalem itself is representation of a woman as well. She that was great among the nations and princes among the provinces. How has she become tributary? And this is going into whenever the fall of Jerusalem, when Jeremiah was lamenting over the fall of Jerusalem. All right, let's get another example real quick. Let's get another example. I think Isaiah 9, I think it is. Is it Isaiah 9? The head of Damascus is I might have to type it in. The head of Damascus is Rezin. Let me see. Head, Syria. Isaiah 7, that's what it is. All right, this is Isaiah chapter 7, verse 8. This is another example that just because it says city doesn't necessarily mean it ain't talking about a nation. All right. It says, for the head of Syria is Damascus. Okay, that for the head of Syria is Damascus, and the head of Damascus is Rezin. You see? And within 65 years shall Ephraim be broken, that it be not a people. Okay, so even though it says that the head of Syria is Damascus and the head of Damascus is Rezin, which was their king, it's still likening the city of Damascus unto the nation that represents Syria. You know what I'm saying? So just because when you see city, all right, it doesn't necessarily mean it's only specifically talking about one city. This is Babylon the Great is talking about America. Point blank, period, in the discussion. Okay? Revelation chapter 17, verse 18, because when you go up to the top, it says that what? She had a name written on her forehead, Revelation 17:5, and upon her forehead was a name written. Mystery. So it's going to be a mystery, right? Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. There's not a city A single city that controls global commerce. Okay? It's not one single city that controls global trade and has influence over the whole entire world. Okay? Now there is a nation that does have control over global commerce and over global control of the whole entire world, which is America. Right? Revelation 17:18, it says, "And the woman which thou sawest is that great city. The woman which thou sawest is that great city, which reigneth over the kings of the earth." Mind you, it says a great city. Okay? That word great is megas, which is, it says great. Let's go down here. Hold on one second. Bear with me. Great, it says compass and extent large, spacious. Okay, so great could mean large or spacious, or megas is like great, you know, great in stature. Okay? Let's see, predicted of rank, so it could be great in rank. As belonging to persons, things esteemed highly for their importance, of great moment, of great weight, importance, excellence, splendid. Okay? That's why they're not going to go into these prophecies, for example, like when you read in Revelation, all right, the 14th chapter, where it talks about the golden city of seas. What golden city, what specific city is that talking about? Is it talking about an actual city, or is it talking about a place? And when I say a place, I'm talking about a larger region. Okay? And then that word city is polis. It says a city. All right. The one's native city, the city in which one lives. Okay. The inhabitants of a city. Okay. In this city, it's talking about an actual place. You see, a great city that rules over the kings of the world. Okay. This represents global dominion. And there's not a single city on the planet Earth that represents or that has global dominion over the planet Earth. It's a system, right? Revelation 18:3. It says, "For all the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies." Once again, how are the nations waxed rich over one specific city? You see, the nations are waxed rich over the global trade and the global system that's been produced off of America, okay, via the petrodollar, man. That's how America's able to. That's how America was able to get rich over trade. Okay. Revelation 18:11. I'm sorry, because he was reading this. It says, "And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning." And this burning is talking about all of America being on fire, man. And these in the kings of the earth and nations. So here it is, it's saying the kings of the earth, and this guy here was saying that this is talking about an actual city, that they're going to bewail the smoke of her burning. And it's going to be afar off. So you're going to have people standing off. You're going to have you're going to have a city like Dallas being destroyed, but you're going to have people standing afar off in Euless just watching. No. It ain't like you're going to be in New York City.
Yeah, they're going to be in Georgia watching. Oh my God, look at what happened to Houston. Look what happened to Dallas. They don't want to admit. That's why he said, see, there's people out there. I'm not dumb. There's people out there that say that it's America. And it can't be America. Because America's not a city, it's a country. I just proved to you, citizen is someone that is a part of a country. A city is as big as its citizens. If you're a Russian citizen, how big is Russia? I believe you can fit three or four United States of America, or the contiguous United States, and I think it's either 3 to 4. We're talking about 5,000 square miles. So Russia's got to be something like, I got to do the math, but it's way bigger. Look at the map. It's way bigger. And guess what? Russia is a city too, because you're a Russian citizen. When they completely take over Ukraine, Ukraine will be citizens of Russia.
City, and New York City gonna get hit with an ICBM thermonuclear missile, and people in Buffalo gonna be looking like, damn, kings of the earth in Buffalo, New York. Wow. And I don't know the demographics of Buffalo, New York from New York. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying that as a city. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's my hours away. From New York City to Buffalo, that's hours away. That's damn near, that's close to Canada, Toronto. We're talking, what, 8-9 hours?
But no, man, it's talking about the kings of the earth. They're talking about these various different nations that are going to see America being completely destroyed.
And then this clown is he's reading the scripture, so he's reading about prophecy. So guess what? That means he's prophesying, right? He's got a hat on. Show you how stupid these Christians are.
By ICBM thermonuclear missiles, and it's going to be televised, man. It's going to have satellites recording it. People, other nations on their TV stations showing America being completely on fire, man. From the international, from these different space stations and things of that nature. Okay? Standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. You see, so it's going to take 1 hour, okay, for all of America to be destroyed. Let's do this. Let's do this. How quickly can America be on fire from nuclear destruction? Can it take 1 hour?
And the hour's quick.
Nuclear destruction can occur extremely quickly, with the initial impact felt within minutes of a nuclear strike. Okay? I just want to get. I want to get to the point. It says 1 hour and beyond. It says within the first hour, the most immediate physical damage, blast, and fire would have occurred in the targeted cities plural, and military installations. The fire would be localized to these specific urban and industrial areas, not a simultaneous continental blaze. So it's not going to, it's going to be missiles hitting at various different parts of the earth. Okay, it's not going to be, all the missiles just going to drop at once or just hit at once. It's going to be them hitting different parts in different regions. Miami, Florida, Dallas, Texas, Los Angeles, California, New York. You know what I'm saying? These major cities. All these various major cities, that's where they're going to hit. Let's see. I want to see if I can how long would it take for America to be completely on fire if a nuclear fallout took place? Could it take roughly 1 hour? Let's see what it says. I'm just curious. I never typed this in. I'm just curious, right? So it says short answer, no. America would not be completely on fire within 1 hour, which they going off on that. All right, because even with the fire now, the scriptures talk about the bosom of destruction, how it's going to be a sweeping fire that's going to sweep. Pretty much the air, the oxygen in the air turns into fire. Okay. So I just kind of want to go down, right? Let's see. Yeah, I'm not saying that it says this could cause weeks to months of fires across the region, but again, not 1 hour. Let's talk about that.
If it's hit with 1,000 warheads, it hits every part of this place, it will be taken out inside of an hour. The fire would remain, but everything would be destroyed, and what would be left, not one soul shall escape. if you're not beamed up, and this whole place will be set on fire. The elements shall melt with fervent heat. Now, if it says it's going to be an hour, no, if it's one warhead that hit a city or even a state, you know, it's not going to affect the rest of the U.S. in that way. But if you got missiles, warheads coming from both directions, coming from China and Russia, which is the East Europe, missiles coming from that direction, then you got from Europe, which is the West, coming to the east of America and to Middle America. I did a video. I said how the Korean missile can go. The North Koreans possess long-range missiles, and their best missile, can go. I believe it's something like 12,000 miles, something like that. It was like something like it was so many kilometers, which added up to about 12. It was more than enough power to hit America. Korea is on the east coast of the Far East, and what's right next to it, to the east, California. And like I said, the ships, they shall be well displaced. It ain't no ships coming to no one fucking city. Ain't no ships coming to Dallas. Okay, they all coming to Dallas. Ain't no ships coming to New York. All the ships come to New York, and then it's distributed throughout the country. You can't see it because you don't want to see it, because you believe that God looks like Uncle Sam up in heaven, sitting on the throne eating Hebrew National hot dog. That's what you think. That's what you devils think.
The nuclear fallout. Multiple cities could be burning simultaneously within the first 30 to 60 minutes, and that's what John the Revelator seen. All right, when he said that, when
let me ask this question, since we're going into the Google. How many ICBM missiles would it take to take America out in 1 hour? It's a matter of the missiles. It would take, okay, it would not take a certain number of hours for intercontinental ballistic missiles to reach America. I didn't say that. America, because their flight time is only about 30 minutes from countries like Russia and China, a full-scale attack involves hundreds of nuclear warheads, could effectively take out the country, cause catastrophic, widespread destruction within that initial hour of conflict beginning. Did you hear that? Did you see that? Take out the country, cause catastrophic, widespread destruction within the initial hour of the conflict beginning. So we're talking about within an hour. One warhead might not do it. Of course not. But what if you get hit with 1,000 warheads? You're done inside of an hour. Inside of an hour.
when the scriptures talk about how the elect stood on the sea of glass, that's going into the elect being beamed up into the chariots, all right, and looking down and seeing America. Because remember, at the simultaneously, I don't know, there's different points could pop into my head, but at simultaneously, the missiles are going to be hitting, the elect are going to be.
And let me say this: hey, you got these Jakes; they're all into this Corey Holcomb, Anton Daniels beef. When they don't realize that all you stupid boneheaded Negroes and you Latin tribes, you all gonna get chipped. Watch what they're gonna do. Most likely, they're gonna allow a lot of these illegals to come back in the country, but they gotta get chipped. They're like, where do I sign up? You Jakes don't have no clue as to this place is going to be destroyed, and you're going to be destroyed in it because you don't know what's going on. Next big thing that's going to happen, I always speak about this, is the microchip, the microchip. And that's when these other camp leaders, like IUCBK, IUIC, and others, that said that it's not talking about a chip, even HOI, Priest Zabak, you're gonna realize, and you're gonna wake up, you're gonna say, well, wait a minute, GMS was always right. The true men of the Lord are the men of GMS. And we stand on that. You might say, well, what if you're wrong? I'm not wrong. My response is, I'm not wrong. Well, what if you are? There's no what if. What if is not even a Hebrew word. What if?
Being beamed up at the same time. Remember the scripture says, praise ye the Lord in the fires. Okay, how the elect are going to be beamed up as simultaneous as the fire, as a nuclear fire is going to be sweeping across. You're going to have the elect literally go through the fire, man. You see? So once again, it's not, see, what ChatGPT is trying to do is trying to say instantaneously at one time. No, missiles are going to be hitting different times, man. But within that whole span of an hour, all of America in this American system is going to be completely annihilated. It's going to be completely destroyed. You see? And that's talking about all of America in its entirety. You know? From the West Coast all the way to the East Coast, from the top of America to the bottom. Verse 11, it says, and the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her. The merchants of the earth. So they ain't talking about...
The main one is China, because they ain't going to make us a lot of money that they're going to lose. But then they're going to really find out that they're going to lose what they got. Because we're going to grab them up.
Merchants, all the merchants of the earth ain't going to be standing in one city. We're looking at another city being burnt up. No, the merchants of the earth are talking about these various different nations that are weeping over the destruction of America. For no one buyeth their merchandise anymore. Okay, America is the #1 importer of goods.
From China, about 90 to 95% of everything that we get come from China. As far as dry goods, what I mean by that is TVs, stereos, furniture, cars, car parts, electronics, smartphones. The components were made in China. Now food comes from other, like Argentina, Middle America, other countries that supply us with food. Certain bananas come from the tropics, the South America. But that the so-called furniture and like I said, these things that you have, the furnishings in your house, and pretty much every goddamn thing else that you don't eat, that come from China. So who's going to be mourning? The Chinese. And then you're going to have other nations mourning. Goes, this is a great place. I can't believe it. America's done. But there's some of y'all going to be happy. And guess who's going to be happy? The apostles and the prophets, when they up in the ship seeing the fire. They're going to rejoice. That's also in Revelation 18. That's why I say Revelation 8, chapter 18 is one of my favorite chapters. I love that chapter.
But chiefly from China.
Chiefly from China.
You see? So when it talks about a city being destroyed, these Christians have no idea what the hell is going on. They don't know.
Because the Lord ain't dealing with them. The Lord ain't there. They would never sit down and have a debate about the prophetic part of the scriptures. Because why? Because they don't know the prophecies. The scholars don't know. They're hit or miss. Damn it.
They don't know. When you got individuals like these guys that try to break down the scriptures, they don't know what the hell's going on, man. Because once again,
the guy's a blue collar devil, man. He got a hat on, prophesying with a fucking hat on. The fuck this guy? What's the guy's problem, man? We'll run circles around this clown.
They don't want America to be Babylon the Great because they understand and know if America's Babylon, then their goals and their aspirations and their quote unquote their dreams are going to be burnt up. In this system, Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus.
And these devils got a song called God Bless America with the light and the flight from up above. I can't sing that motherfucking song. From the mountains to the valleys to the da-da-da-da-dee. God bless. God is getting ready to curse America. You know, land that you love. Get the fuck out of here, man. This is Babylon, bro.
This Yahweh, who the world ignorantly calls God, is going to send Yahweh Shai to destroy this system. You see? Because I guarantee you, this guy watches video. He knows about the Hebrew Israelites. That's why a lot of the scriptures that he was reading, was a lot of same scriptures we bring out about nuclear destruction.
All they do is watch us, man. All they do is watch us and take notes. These elites watch us because they know what's happening. They know what's going to happen to them.
But when it comes to Babylon the Great, we don't know. It's a mystery. I don't know. I'm not going to say it's America. I don't know. Well, at the end, in the last days,
Oh, you show them that the Messiah is a Jake. He got an afro. Well, it's not about color. That's why we don't tolerate you. We can't tolerate you devils, man. Can't tolerate you. We just can't.
We would know these things. We would have to know these things. You would have to point out who Babylon is. The scripture says, "Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest." We would have to let you know who Babylon the Great is and what's going to be destroyed, so that what? Ultimately, repentance could be made, so that what? You could be delivered from this destruction. It ain't going to be no mystery. It says mystery, but it's only going to be a mystery for those who don't know. So I pray this lesson was edifying to the elect. Call hello Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai Bashim Chakadash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who taught us his truth and that's what teaching is truth. Much peace, love, and salutation to the elect. Until next time, I say shalom.
It's almost time right now. That's when Yahweh Shai's going to come. Establish his kingdom on earth. Yeah. What better way to start off your kingdom than by taking down the most powerful military on the planet?
Absolutely. Great way.
Yeah.
I got to change it because you can't hear it. I'm sorry. That win. Let's go with let's go with this one. I'm gonna come back to this one. See what this is all about.
Shalom. Giving all honor, all praise, and all glory to Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai Ba'ashim Rechak Wadash. Double honors to the elder apostles and bishops of the Great Millstone that rule well. As always, peace, blessings, and salutations to the tabernacle of David, the for elect, scattered abroad across the four winds of the earth. Now you can see, why Trump would, make the threat that he will enact the Insurrection Act when you got those protesters out there. They're starting to get so massive that they're running these ICE agents, sending them retreating to where they actually would flee on foot away from their own vehicles, leaving behind, confidential information. I think this took place in Minnesota, where a few agents got away on foot, and some documents. The protesters, went through their vehicles and found some documents. And it was pretty interesting to see, the type of documentation that was left in the vehicle. And knowing how this current society works, once public information, or should I say, once disclosed information becomes public, once it gains traction on social media, it becomes public information. This type of thing will lead to sedition. It will lead to insurrection. You know, and you know, we're going to be seeing, you know, we're going to see escalation because these ICE agents, they're not caring anymore. They're not militarily trained, and I don't think they have the IQ to be law enforcement either. So they're just signing up, you know, because they like the incentive behind it, you know.
They train them in 48 days, 47 days. That's your training. That's what, just round it off to 80. That's nothing. 48 days. That's not even 2 months. That's a month and a little more than a week.
So they're getting, you know, little training, you know, and like I said before in other lessons, you know, some of them, I believe, are covert IDF, you know, under mask.
Yep,
some of them are trained,
that's right.
but some of them are just straight up dummies, you know, who they just trying to, you know, get a quick, easy bag so that they can go around and oppress people and think that they have, you know, power. So the treatment that, you know, they're giving civilians or citizens, you know, this is all going to lead to, you know, straight up uprising, you know, insurrection. And this is exactly why Trump, you know, he threw the threat out there that he will, you know, he will call the big dogs out and send them into the cities, which he's already proposed that, you know, he wants to, the military to train in these dangerous Democratic ran cities. All right. But take a look at this real quick. It's pretty interesting. Let me this is on TikTok, and then there's other clips as well. But I'll just play this one for now.
This paperwork has people's full names and their emails. Operation Posture. Operational posture. This is how they're supposed to stand and how they're supposed to handle protesters. This is the transport of immigration targets. This is a map showing you where they're taking immigration targets and instructions on how to get into the building, on what they're supposed to do on booking. I have a piece of paper for the guy whose vehicle it was. It's got his hotel booking information. They're taking guys from Wisconsin and bringing them in to help fight us. There's people staying at Wisconsin. It's their loading zone. They're meeting up there, and then they're moving into Minneapolis. That one got ripped up, unfortunately. At the detention center. Sherborne County.
So yeah, so they leaving. They got maps. So I'm pretty sure once they get sent on their task to do their job, they get sent with, you know, this. And it's funny though. You know, it's not in a secret, disclosed location. It's not in a binder. So they just had these papers just laid out like these guys. Like they needed a damn map guide to do their own job. So they just throwing these guys out there. So people are going to start looking at this like, for real? This is what we're dealing with? You know? So this might embolden some of these people out there. You know? This information going viral, this is going to start emboldening folks. And, you know, we already see that people is in that, that spirit. You know, this current administration that done so much within, you know, it's a year. And people are they're fed up already. You know, the economy, you know, the financial hardship, you know, all these layoffs. All right, the housing market. People are not doing well, and this ICE thing is only adding more affliction. So this is definitely a recipe for chaos, pandemonium.
Pandemonium.
But let's finish watching this. This is very interesting. You know, nothing may come out of this. Who knows? But it's interesting to say the least. But these type.
You gotta listen to her. I subscribe to her. Lynette. I've been listening to her for years. I subscribe to her. As you can see, Lynette Zhang. She knows everything about silver, gold. Breaks it down to the person that don't understand it. She breaks it down. Lowest common denominator. What have I been mentioning? Hyperinflation, right? People are bitching about inflation. What are you going to do when you have to deal with when you experience hyperinflation? Three-Eye Atlas. Scientists debate whether mysterious object is natural or artificial.
But things, this is what leads to insurrection and then eventually civil war. All right, the people fighting against the government.
I think detention center address. So.
These are just operation paperwork. This literally tells them information for FD 936. Request for national DNA database entry. This is how they're entering all of them into the database. Again, this was paperwork taken out of an ICE vehicle that was left behind from the first.
They're getting their DNA samples. Like I said, I believe this is what Nero said in 2015, 2016. This is before he became president. He said the visa entry exit visa tracking system, which we need desperately. We was talking about the illegals. So there's going to be a system where you can enter and exit freely through DNA testing, and ultimately he's going to leave to the chip. Watch. He's going to allow them people to come back in my opinion. I could be wrong. But he's going to allow them. He said, you want to come to the country? You know, you want to make $10 an hour instead of making $10 a week? Okay, you can come back in the country, but you got to get chipped. What do you think they're going to say? They're going to say, where do I line up? Where do I sign up at? People are, like I said, Jake, they're so concerned about Corey Holcomb and Anton Daniels beefing, which is a psyop. It's a spiritual psyop. Everybody wants to know about, you know, you had Diddy, they were all glued to the flat screen for the Diddy trial. And Jake, you ask any Jake in the hood, what do you know about the mark of the beast? One day we'll do that. What do you know about the mark of the beast? Or ask them about certain prophetic parts of the scriptures. And so when it comes and you have a choice, you take the chip, you can still work, you can get paid, you can buy things, you don't get the chip, you don't have a job, you get evicted, we're going to take your car because you got to register your car, you can't buy yourself food, oh, you got children, oh, you got a pregnant wife, oh, you better get the chip. And I actually see brothers that know that they're Israelites getting the chip. You may fold under pressure. Yo, fuck that. Kill me.
First shooting tonight.
So the USNS looking information form, all the data that they should be gathering, and form the rest information, day, housing, property, NCIC offense code. What's the other document?
This is a hotel booking sheet. The officer whose car we raided was John Steimle. This is a hotel in Wisconsin that they're loading ICE agents up into before they send them into Minneapolis. It's got his name, the hotel, the address, room number. The Baymont by Windham Baldwin. Baymont is supporting ICE agents.
Yeah, so you know what? Let me move on. Please watch the rest of this. And come over here and see what's happening over here.
Fair use, fair use, fair use. Fair use is a copyright disclaimer under the Section Act 107, permitted for copyrights for criticism, comments, news reporting, research, and prophecy. All right? That's what we use it for. We use it for prophecy. Copyright Act 1976, and for prophecy. Fair use, fair use, fair use, fair use.
Look at this. They're grabbing Native Americans. Ain't this a bitch? In Minnesota. We are America.
So, today is the 16th of January, 2026. As always, let's give all the praises and the glory to the Heavenly Father, which is Yahweh, and to his only begotten Son, which is Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Double honors to the apostles, to the elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to you. And shalom to the hopeful elect, brothers and sisters of the house of Israel, the true children of Israel. As the Bible says, many are called, few are chosen. The chosen are the elect of the nation of Israel. The true children of Israel. This is not a black thing. This is about the elect of the Lord's people and the second coming of our Lord and the prophetic prophecies that are taking place right now as we speak. We are living in prophetic times, whether you want to hear or whether you want to forbear, as the Bible says. So, as you can see from the title, if America strikes Iran, what would the world look like the next day? All right? What would the world look like the next day? So let's just play a little bit of this interview here.
Just so you know, there was a plan to attack the coalition of the United U.S. and Israel to attack Iran. Land strikes in Iran, and at the last minute, Nero changed his mind, so we don't know what's going on. But I hope they realize that Russia's an ally to Iran, and they do business.
This is Colonel Davis, Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis, and Larry Johnson, who's an ex-CIA analyst, CIA officer. All right, these men are very versed in what's going on in the world, in the secular world. We are the men. We are the prophets of the Lord's prophets, that is going to show you how we filter what these men speak about through the scriptures, through the Bible. Because we are truly living in the end times, and the most prophetic times we are living in are these times here, this decade. It's all happening. So without further ado, let me just hit play.
The last bit of time we have here, I just kind of like your review. I've asked some of our earlier guests on earlier shows today something. I'd really like your unique view on this. In the event that Trump does order strikes against Iran, and they do have a response anywhere close at all to what that member of the parliament said yesterday, and they start hitting our bases and kill a bunch of Americans, maybe a bunch in different places. So it's like, all right, you can't back down out of this. This isn't just going to be retaliatory. We're at war now. What do you think what do you think the world looks like the next day?
Oh, well, the next day it's going to be a frantic round of contacts between Moscow, Beijing, and Washington. And, at that point, the U.S. might be threatening, or the Israelis would be threatening to use nuclear weapons. And the Chinese and Russians are going to say, hey, no way. And in fact, I think you're going to see countries like Pakistan, who are nuclear powers, they'll step up as well to come to the aid of Iran. So no, this would put us into some very, very dangerous waters. And, up to this point, one of the reasons the United States has been able to be so bellicose in all of these over the years, we've never faced a real threat here in the United States. I think Russia and China then would be prepared to put the United States on notice that if it pursued any further aggression against Iran that would involve nuclear weapons, that the U.S. would be targeted. That we'd be pushing into a realm that they're risking global nuclear war. I think it would be that serious.
Welcome to the next collection, Batumi George.
Go away. That will be moving to global nuclear war. He's absolutely right there. Let's just stop it there. He said the next phase will be a global nuclear war, because that is where it's all going to go, as we should all know by now. All right. The only thing that we keep telling you that needs to be in play before Russia exchanges nukes with America is the MOTB, right? The mark of the beast. That's the only thing. But short of that, someone could drop a tactical nuke, a smaller nuke before that. That's going to lead us to that path, all right? To that destruction. Because as the Bible says, right? So I want to play a little bit more of this and let it play. But let me just quickly grab a scripture. Is it 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 I want? Let me quickly grab a scripture. Yeah, 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. We're going to go back to the video, all right? Oops. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, because this is the end game, right? The day of the Lord, right? The Lord's coming. Because the day of the Lord is going to be when the Russians exchange nukes with America, all right? But they could be a tactical nuke, could be shot off somewhere. We could see a mushroom cloud over Ukraine. We could see a mushroom cloud over Iran, wherever, all right? But the Russians and the Americans are not going to go head to head until the MOTB is implemented, which is the microchip on a global scale. So it says here, 1 Thessalonians 5:1, but of the times and seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. Right? For when they shall say peace and safety, just like what the Larry Johnson said, they're going to be sitting down trying to make deals, right? But it's not going to work. But they will, that will be the first play. So when they shall say peace and safety, when they're sitting around the tables trying to iron it out, then sudden destruction comes upon them, as travail is upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. They're not going to be able to escape these missiles, right? When we hit that final milestone, that final length, they're not going to be able to escape these missiles when the Russians and the Americans go head to head. But you, brethren, are not in darkness, right? That the day should overtake you as a thief. Ye are the children of light and the children of the day. So the children of the light, the children of the day, in here, it's talking about the Israelites, the elect. Because not all of the Israelites are going to wake up and going to see this. They're still in darkness. This is specifically talking about the elect of the children of Israel, right? That are scattered to the four corners of the world, right? You are the children of light and the children of day. We are not of the night nor of darkness. Therefore, let us not sleep. Because many people are sleeping to what's going on. They still can't see after all what's been going on in these first 2 weeks. We're only 2 weeks into January. A lot of Israelites still can't see. But the elect will. Therefore, let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. This is why we show you these podcasts, to show you that you have many people in the secular world that can see where all of this is going. They can see it, they can feel it, and they can see it. So let us watch and be sober. For they that sleep, sleep in the night, and they that be drunken are drunken in the night. But let us put on what? Let us who are of the day be sober, putting on the breastplates of faith and love, and for an helmet, the hope of salvation. That's why we call ourselves the hopeful elect. We pray that we make it. For the Most High is not appointed unto us to wrath, but to obtain salvation to his elect by our Lord, Yahushua HaMashiach, right? Which is the anointed. So we're awake, but everyone can see it. The secular world, these men, they see it, what's going on, all right? They see what's going on. So let's continue playing this.
Worries me because the one of the reasons why that the so-called 12-day war was only 12 days last year is because Israel recognized they can't keep going on like this, because the Iranian missiles, the ballistic missiles, were successfully penetrating their integrated air defense systems, and they couldn't stop it, so they needed it to stop. Now, by many accounts, Iran has deepened their capacity and accelerated its technological capacity, and that they would hit more targets inside of Israel. My worry is that if that wasn't just 12 days, but it started being something that was going on a long time, that there would be the temptation in Israel to resort to nuclear weapons, and then the world will never be the same after that day.
Yeah. And again, people think...
They will. They're all going to resort to nuclear weapons, all those that possess them, because that's the fulfillment of prophecy. That's the Most High's will. So the only last major marker we're looking for is the MOTB, the mark of the beast, which is the microchip, which is going to come on the base of this whole new digital currency and digital system that's right now being rolled out. The digital infrastructure is there. We're just waiting for whether it's a Black Swan event or a 9/11 event. So the 9/11 event could be someone drop a tactical nuke in a major city around the world. So let's just see. Anyway, let's play.
I think that the nuclear weapon's a magic bullet. It doesn't destroy all of Iran. It could destroy one portion, relatively small portion of Iran. Well, Iran's got other weapons to fight back with, and we can't rule out the possibility that they have in fact developed a nuclear warhead, just specifically for this contingency.
And we believe they have. We believe that the Russians have helped the Iranians to develop nuclear warheads, right? Whether they built those warheads directly in Iran or they built them in Russia. But we believe that Iran does possess nuclear weapons, just like how we know for a fact that Israel possesses nuclear weapons. So all the main players in this possess nukes. This is the underlying thing here.
Yeah, and so this, the West exists, our entire national defense strategy is built around creating mythical enemies. We create the Russians as an enemy, the Chinese as an enemy, the Iranians as an enemy.
Because that's the fulfillment of prophecy. But he's absolutely right. They create mythical enemies, the West, but it's all the fulfillment of prophecy. These enemies have to exist for Ezekiel 38 to be fulfilled, Ezekiel 39 to be fulfilled, Revelation 16 to be fulfilled, Revelation 17, Revelations 18, Revelations 19, and so forth. Right? For Joel chapter 3, Isaiah chapter 13, Isaiah chapter 34, Isaiah chapter 24, for Jeremiah chapter 50, Jeremiah chapter 51. So they have to.
None of those countries have shown any inclination to attack the United States or to go out and attack U.S. interests that are not threatening their own interests. But, again, it's the United States that's got 700 plus military bases around the world. Iran, China, and Russia combined, I don't think they've got 10 bases around the world. And yet the one we're being claimed to be the aggressors, the imperialists, are the Russians, the Chinese, and the Iranians. I mean, it would, if it wasn't so damn serious and so damn dangerous, it'd be funny.
It would, and I'm actually looking for one thing if I can find here real quick.
So, if it wasn't so serious and so dangerous, it would be funny. He's absolutely right. America has got over 800 bases around the world. This is why Jeremiah, all right? Jeremiah 51 and 23. Jeremiah 51 and 23. Was it Jeremiah 50 and 23? Jeremiah 50. Let's go to Jeremiah 50 first. Yes, Jeremiah 50. This is why America is known in the Bible as the hammer of the whole earth. Jeremiah 50 and 23. How is the hammer of the whole earth? That's got the 800 military bases around the world. You heard what Larry Johnson said. He said between China, Russia, and Iran, they probably haven't got 10 military bases, outside of their own country, spread out across the world. America's got 800 plus, 850 and counting around the world. Right? Why is that? Because America is the reincarnation of Rome. Now I'm going to show you why. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon cut to a desolation amongst the nations, right? The hammer of the whole earth is America, Babylon the Great. That's why it has 800 bases, right? It is the reincarnation of the Roman Empire. That's how the Romans operated. They had their bases all around, their garrisons, should I say, all throughout the Roman Empire, and they had their vassal states. Now, listen to what Colonel Douglas McGregor says here. As I said, boy, the spirit is jumping on these men, boy, to say certain things, right, that are just so true to the fact, right? That is you just can't hide this no more. But listen to what Colonel Douglas McGregor says here about America.
Put these Europeans where they belong in the place that they world differently. But you're asking him to look at the world differently and put these Europeans where they belong in the place that they occupy.
But he's talking about Trump, America, all right? This is what he's talking about, and what he needs to be doing.
Said, we are effectively de facto, for all intents and purposes, the modern equivalent of the Roman Empire.
You hear that? We are the de facto, for the modern equivalents. I'm trying to use the exact words it said. The reincarnation of the Roman Empire. Let me just run that back again. Let's see if I can put the subtitles up. So he's talking about Trump putting these European nations. Let me just say. Let me just go back here. All right, hold on.
And I would argue with anybody else. But, you're asking him to look at the world differently and put these Europeans where they belong in the place that they occupy. I've always said we are effectively de facto, for all intents and purposes, the modern equivalent of the Roman Empire.
The modern equivalent of the Roman Empire. You couldn't make this stuff up. Because that's what America is. It's the reincarnation of the Roman Empire. He said, we are, all right? He said he needs to put all of these European countries in their place, just like what Rome did with all of what Rome did to the 10 horns, to the Germanic tribes and the Greek states back then, right? They all became vassal states to Rome. Same thing that you see America doing today. It's this way. He said, they look at the world differently and put these European countries in their place.
They belong in the place that they occupy. I've always said we are effectively de facto for
we are effectively de facto for all intents and
purposes, the modern equivalent of the Roman Empire.
The modern equivalent of the Roman Empire. Because that's who they are. They are the reincarnation of the Roman Empire. And then he goes on, he adds a little bit more flavor to what he's going to say here. And so the spirit is jumping on these Edomites, boy, to truly speak the truth, boy. Because we've always told you that America is the reincarnation of that's the deadly wound that was healed.
What did the Romans do with the Greek city-states? The Europeans are effectively the equivalent of the Greek city-states.
See, the Europeans are effectively the equivalent of the Greek city-states, right? And those Germanic tribes, which makes them what? Those are the 10 horns. So you had back then you had the Germanic tribes, right? in Daniel 8 or Daniel 7, where it speaks about the Germanic tribes, all right? When it speaks about Daniel 7, Daniel 8. I think it speaks about in Daniel 8 and Daniel 7, right? I mean, it speaks about the 10 horns, basically, right? And you got those Germanic tribes that had invaded Rome, all right? Because they eventually took down Rome, right? They became Rome's enemy eventually, and they took down the western part of the Roman Empire, because the eastern part continued to exist as was known as the Byzantinian Empire, which was ruled by Jake, right? Mainly Israelites, but the western part went down, and it was eventually by those same European countries today. Back then, they were known as the Visigoths, the Ostrogoths, the Ostrogoths, if I'm pronouncing that right, the Vandals, the Lombards, the Alamanis, the Burgundies, the Franks, the Jutes, the Angles, and the Saxons, right? That's what they were known as back then. Now, that scene, I believe it is Daniel 8? It speaks about Daniel 7, the 10 horns. All right, so he's showing you that these Europeans are effectively the equivalent of those Greek city-states, which were also part of those Germanic tribe states, the 10 horns back then, which is all Bible prophecy, but that's who they are.
Eventually, the Romans said, thank you very much. You're going to behave yourselves. You're going to stop fighting with each other. You're not going to start any wars because it's bad for business. And it stopped, and the Greeks became part of the larger Roman Empire, and there was peace for hundreds of years as a result.
See? And that's America today. So they've had 100 years of peace since the Second World War, literally coming up to 180 odd years, right? Since the Second World War, right? So he's showing you that America is Rome. We've always told you that America is Rome. Now those tribes, let's see if I quickly find out. I think it's Daniel 7. Daniel 7 or Daniel 7? Daniel 7 or Daniel 8? Around verse 20. Let me just see if I'm in the right place. Yeah. Around verse 20, Daniel 7, right? So these were those Germanic tribes back then that are back here today, which are those European countries, right? Now, the fourth beast is the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire is back here today again, which is America. America is that military might of the fourth beast, right? The reincarnation of the Roman. And every type of government building in America is built with the same design and architect of the ancient Roman Empire. So it says here, Daniel 7 and 19, it says, then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceedingly dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass, which devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue with his feet. That was the Roman Empire back then during the times of Julius Caesar. Let's see if I can remember the 12 emperors. Julius Caesar was the first emperor, right? That's when it was at the height of its power, really, right? Under Caesar, the first triumvirate, which was Julius Caesar, Marcus Crassus, and Pompey. That was the first triumvirate, right? Around 60 BC, and then Julius Caesar became the last one of the three, all right? Because they eventually, Marcus Crassus died in war and battle, and I believe Julius Caesar killed or had Pompey killed, right? So then he became the first emperor. Julius Caesar became the first emperor of Caesar of Rome, right? Because they were the 12. They call them the 12 Caesars, right? And I've even got the book downstairs. It's by Centinius, right? He wrote the book regarding these 12 Caesars, right? And you had, let's see if I can get this right. Julius Caesar was the first one. His stepson, Augustus, was the second. And then Augustus' stepson, Tiberius, was the third. And then Caligula was the fourth. I know he was related to Tiberius, but I'm not sure how. I don't remember how. And then Claudius, I believe, was Caligula's uncle. Then he became emperor. Then it was Nero, who's in power today in America, Donald Trump, Nero. And then you had the year of the 4 emperors, Galba, Otho, Vitellius, and Vespasian. And then from Vespasian came his 2 sons, Titus and Domitian was the last. So they call them the 12 Caesars. And 2nd Ezra chapter 11 and chapter 12 goes deep into that, all right? It's beautiful, basically. And there was a guy called Suetonius who wrote a book about the 12 emperors, all right? Basically, as such. And then after that, you had Jake Nerva came into rulership, and then you had, you know, people of color that were now the Roman emperors, all right? After Domitian. So, what we are speaking on here in Daniel 7, that's the Roman Empire back then, right? But it was going to come back in these latter days. And then the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, all right? Even of that same horn that had eyes and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellow. That's America. So when it speaks about the 10 horns, these are the Germanic tribes, which we know today now as the European nations, right? The EU, the 10 horns, that was in the head.
Forgive me, I had this going. I took a shower, so.
And of the other which came up before them, whom 3 fell. The 3 that fell was the French.
Getting a history lesson, the pagan Roman Empire, 2,000 years ago.
Under Napoleon, France, Napoleon, Spain under Isabella and what's his name? Ferdinand, Spanish Empire, and then England was the last one of the 3, right? That fell. And off that horn, and even off that horn that had eyes and a mouth that spake very great things, that's America, Babylon the Great, because America comes from, you know, comes out of these 10 horns and these 3 that fell, because all those people that came to America are Europeans. They come from these European nations, right? These EU nations.
See, now you got to go to Revelation chapter 20. That dragon was chained up for 1,000 years. Then it was loose. In the 7th and the 8th verse of that same chapter, Revelation 20. Now, Nate got it all messed up. The first 1,000 years, and the first couple of verses speaks about the 1,000 year that they were shackled. Then in the 4th verse of Revelation 20, it talks about the 1,000 year reign, which represents us. Then when they are loose from their chains in verse 7 and 8, that's talking about now. That's talking about now. What I mean by that is when Christopher Columbus went to the New World. So the 7th verse, the 7 and the 8th verse goes from Christopher Columbus to now, the present.
And he had a mouth that spake very great things. That's America, Babylon the Great, whose look was more stout than his fellows. All right? And this is why it says, I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints. And this is what he did. America, Babylon the Great, made war with the saints. They came up against the Native American Indian tribes and took them out to take the country, subjugated them and murdered them. And, you know, this is what they did. And then they obviously subjugated the Southern Kingdom, right? When they brought them over in the slave ships to the Americas. And then they were subjugated in America as well, under this great horn. Right?
Yeah, Europeans was in cast. Look, us coming from West Africa, Nigeria, and the surrounding Ghana and the surrounding areas, those were Israelites. That was the fulfillment of Deuteronomy 28:68. Christians talking about, oh, they tried to sell themselves and nobody wanted to buy. That never happened in history. There's no nation on the planet Earth that ever said, as a nation, we're going to go to this nation and we're going to try to sell ourselves. But the nation's going to say, no, we don't want to buy you. That never happened. You guys are reading into it the wrong way.
Which made war with the saints and prevailed against them. All right? And which is what he did. So I'm not going to go into Daniel. I want to jump now to Revelations 13 to show you how we know that this beast is back. So when it speaks here, it says, Revelations 13 and 3. Let's see if we can go straight to the point. It says, and I saw one of his heads as it was wounded to death, right? And his deadly wound was healed, right? This is the 4th beast, right? And all the world wondered after the beast, and they worshipped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. All right. So the dragon is the Roman Empire. The beast symbolically represents, EU, NATO. America's the head of NATO. All right. The military stronghold for the beast, the dragon, is America, Babylon the Great. That's why it says, and they worship the beast, because America's the head of that beast, saying, who is like unto the beast? Who is like unto NATO? Because it has the dragon with all its power, which is America, which is a reincarnation of the Roman Empire, which is the head honcho in this alliance. It's why it says, who is able to make war with him? All right? So as long as Babylon the Great is the head honcho in this beast, this is why it says that. Who's able to make war with him? This is why the Lord has got to come back, even though the Russians will go to war against the beast. And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things, America, Babylon the Great, all right, and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months, which represents 3.5 years, which symbolically represents the 350 years of slavery, all right? Power was given unto him. This is why it said, I keep doing this, I'm reading it and I'm not showing you the screens. Salaki. I'm guilty of that. I keep reading, but I'm not showing you the screen. Sorry. So this is what I was reading, Revelations 13. All right, here. When it says, and there was given unto him a great mouth speaking great things, and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months, which is the 350 years. All right, basically. So we started here in verse 3 when I said, and I saw one of his heads, and it was wounded to death, which was the fourth beast, the Roman Empire, and his deadly wound was healed, back again today, and all the world wondered after the beast.
That's the second leg of the Roman Empire, which is not called the Roman Empire. It's called NATO and the EU, America and Canada. It's not called Rome.
Right, which was this Roman Empire, which came back again as the beast, which is the EU and NATO, and America is the head of NATO. And he's worshipped the dragon, which is his power, which gave power unto the beast. The dragon symbolically represents the Roman Empire, which was the power back then. America is that dragon today, which is the power of that beast. That's why it says, who is able to make war with him because of that power. All right? So then it says, and he opened his mouth in blasphemy against the Most High, and he blasphemed his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven. All right? This is why they give you Jesus Christ. That's a blasphemy against the Most High and against the Most High's name of his son, Yahushua. They're giving you these pagan names. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints. This is what he did. And to overcome them.
And by the way, the image in Revelation 13, whose deadly wound was healed, is not talking about a picture of Caesar Borgia or Max von Sydow in the movie The Greatest Story Ever Told. That's what Nate says. Nate goes off. The image represents the system. You know, I'm gonna build. Well, the so-called founding forefathers, they decided on the architecture of D.C. was to be likened unto the architecture of Rome. So that's the image. They wanted to make it look like Rome. Let me go see if I can find that. Let me see if I can. How can I pose this question here? Come on now. Bear with me for a minute. Give me a second here. Let me do this. The founding fathers wanted to make the DC look like Rome. Okay, I was fumbling because the founding fathers wanted to make DC look like Rome. Yes, that's the image. That's the image. You go down to DC, it reminds you of Rome 2,000 years ago. Yes, the founding fathers deliberately designed Washington, D.C. to resemble, that's the image, image, ancient, and the image is also a Senate and a first family, which they call, back then they called the emperors, they call them presidents. The emperors of Rome were inaugurated. The presidents of D.C. or the United States is also inaugurated to resemble ancient Rome and Greece, to visually, the image, link America's new republic to classical antiquity, symbolizing democratic ideals, civic virtue, and a powerful state using neoclassical architecture. Classical meaning the classic architecture of Rome, but new, but it looked like old Rome. Like domes, columns, and temples for key buildings like the Capitol and White House. They adopted Roman governmental structures and civic symbols, seeing Rome's republic as a political model or image. Even, and it has nothing to do with Christianity. When they first came, they brought Christianity. They don't make you worship Christianity and worship Jesus, the white Jesus. But what they do make you worship or be a part of is the way the system is, and it's the Roman system. Senate, the Congress is the House of Reps and the Senate. In Rome, you had the Senate. Even incorporating Roman mythological figures in art and naming locations after Roman concepts, says the Washington Post. So that's the image. The image is we're going to make it look like Rome. We're going to have the system, the political system is of that of Rome, because the emperors were voted in, but they were voted in by the Senate. But the Senate was supposed to be influenced by the people. If more of the people, if a bigger majority of people said, we want this guy to be the emperor, they can say, no, I'm going to go against you. Or yes, I'm for the people, so I'm going to go with the people. The majority of people said that this guy should be the next emperor, so I'm going to vote him to be the next emperor. So it's the same system. This is just a modern version of ancient Rome. So that's what the image represents. Not a picture of Caesar Borgia and the image did speak. Then Nader throw up a picture, a video of Max von Sydow talking about Satan saying, "Are you hungry?" He said, "What are you doing?" "I am fasting." I mean, you got to watch the movie, over dramatic with the English accent and so forth. Come on, let's go.
Power was given unto him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. That's America today. He is the mafia boss. I was watching a video this morning where this young Edomite youth was saying America has become the mafia boss of the world. He is done.
They've been the mafia boss. That's why everybody's going to gather together to deal with them. These guys that are bullies, eventually people get tired of them and snuff them out. Now there was this guy in the Bronx. He was a cop, NYPD, and he had red hair. He was an Irish cop, and I remember it on the news. And the guy wound up dead, and they can never find the killer, because everybody hated him, because he was an asshole. Even with my woman, he used to. This is when she was a teenager. She was pregnant, and the cop looked at her and said, "I knew you was a hoe." And everybody, this is an old story, back in the early 80s. Late 70s, early 80s. There's a cop, redhead cop. He was just an asshole with everybody. And when the dude died and they tried to get leads, nobody, because everybody hated him. This is the thing. You can't say, well, he didn't hate. Everybody hated this motherfucker, and he disappeared. That motherfucker.
Trump is the godfather, and the mafia, they all come to kiss the godfather's ring. And he was saying all of these European leaders were like his captains doing his bidding. But now he's turned against some of his captains, right? So anyway, so it says, who is able to get, so power was given unto him over all kindreds and tongues and nations.
And I can show you this nigga Trump is gully. I'm gonna show you he's gully. Give me a second here. Okay, I don't want to hear no more about Anton Daniels and Corey Holcomb. Let me show you how gully Trump is. He's from the hood. This is hood Trump. Wait for it. Remember, he stole Venezuela and he's bragging about it. Ain't nobody, correcting him on that or coming against him. He just openly stole that motherfucker and kidnapped the president and his wife. Here it is right here. I call it hood Trump. Trump gets gully.
Stole that shit. That's what I do, nigga. Fuck, nigga, I stole that shit. And I stole it, like, but niggas don't understand. I talk facts. Vlad, I talk facts.
Oh, you're right. Don't even deny it. That's cool.
I do, nigga, I talk facts. What deny? What, nigga? Give me that, nigga. You don't know? Stole that shit. That's what I do, nigga.
That's the real Trump. Anyway, let's go.
Nations. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him whose names were not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world, right?
The only ones written in the book of life that's going to be saved out of America, Babylon the Great, a.k.a. the United States, are the elect of Israel.
About the elect. So, because many of our people worship this man and worship his system and his kingdom, but only the elect are going to come out of that. So, power was given unto him over all kindreds and tongues. So, just like it says here, he was able to make war with the saints and to overcome them. So, Daniel says the same thing here, right? When we went back to Daniel, when he says here, back in Daniel's when it says, and I beheld, Daniel chapter 7, verse 21, and the same horn, right, which is America, made war with the saints and prevailed against them, right? That's what he did. From coming to the Americas and subjugating the Native American Indians, which is the northern kingdom, referred to as the 10 lost tribes of Israel, and then taking the southern kingdom, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi from the west, mainly from the west coast of Africa, literally from the whole of the west coast, and bringing them to the Americas to enslave them, right? And to have them to be subjugated unto them. So he was able to make war with the saints and take them into captivity. So when we go back to here, this is what it says. When it says here, and it was given unto him to make war with the saints. It was given unto him to make war with the saints. All right?
Started with Christopher Columbus. Well, actually, before Christopher, you had they took down the Moors. They took down the last stronghold, which is Granada in Spain. They took down the last king. I forget how to pronounce his name, Ibodal, something like that. And that was the exact year. I got to go into it. 13 something. Then it took down the Byzantine Empire, which were Jakes. It was the Turks that sacked Constantinople, renamed it into Istanbul, Turkey. And that happened in the exact year. Yeah, I got to look it up. But it began to happen in the early 1400s, mid 1400s, especially in the late 1400s. Christopher Columbus, when he went to the New World, the reason why he went to the New World, because the Most High used him to set up Babylon for us to go over there and serve slavery, and for them to attack the natives of that land.
And something down here. So when it's talking about the horn, it says that.
So when this man goes down, he's going down hard. Like the scriptures say, you can't compare this time to any time in history. There's not been a time where the whole earth shook. The whole earth is going to quake.
and it says, this is verse 11, and it says, and I beheld another beast coming out of the earth, right, which was Babylon, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon, because he speaks through his military, through his sword. Remember, Esau's blessing was a sword. He spake as a dragon. That beast is the reincarnation.
A lamb is docile. You can pet it. It's friendly. It's not a threat. But when it opens up its mouth, it speaks as a dragon. A dragon opens its mouth, and what comes out? Fire. Dragons kill you. That's what they do. That's what they do. So this is going to start off as a great experiment. You know, the 13 original colonies, and we're going to do the right thing. It was the first thing that they did. They enslaved Jake. They were running from the oppression of Great Britain and so forth. Well, then before that, you had Spain. It was Spain, the first power. When the beast came back to life, it was through Spain. Spain. Christopher Columbus is not Italian. You Italians stop celebrating Christopher Columbus Day. He was a Spaniard. His real name is, his original name is Cristobal Colon. He's a small hat. He was a crypto Jew. So you can understand. If you get the movie 1492 Conquest of Paradise, that's a period piece. Give you a lot of, it's hard to get the movie. You can't get it on Netflix. You can't get it on, if you get it on YouTube, you got to pay for it. So anyway.
Of this Roman Empire, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and we just read that in Daniel, right? We just read in Daniel about the 4th beast, how I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints, because the horn symbolically represents power. This is why it tells you here he had 2 horns like a lamb. The 2 horns represents the 2-party system. It goes back to the Romans. The Romans had a 2-party system. They called them the patricians and the plebeians, right? The plebeians were, your average John and Jane Doe, middle-class worker. And the patricians were the elites. We have the same today in America. The Republicans and the Democrats, 2-party system, right?
The Democrats would be the plebeians. The plebeians, the Spanish Latin words, or Spanish word, pueblo means people, for the people. Patricians go back to the word patriots.
2 horns like a lamb, but he spake as a dragon. And we see that. He's openly telling countries that if you don't do what I do, right, I'm going to come and take your president, or I'm going to come and take your resources, or I'm going to come and embargo you so you can't make no trade. I'm going to hijack your ships. I'm going to bomb your country if you don't do this. This is them speaking as a dragon. That's America, Babylon the Great. So when we go back to, let's go back to what Colonel Douglas said.
Embargo means to, they bring sanctions, but embargo means to have goods. Like China can call for an issue an embargo against United States, where no goods, not one of China's goods will go to America. That's an embargo. That's what that means. So if China called for that, America's dead. America's dead. Be a ghost town.
Right? Because it's like the spirit jumped on him. That's the only thing I can say, right? To say what he said. Because we've always been saying this. The apostles have always been saying this. But it's always nice to hear these secular people actually make that connection, man, with America and the Roman Empire. Clearly.
De facto,
sorry.
For all intents and purposes, differently, and put these Europeans where they belong in the place that they occupy. I've always said we are effectively de facto, for all intents and purposes, the modern equivalent of the Roman Empire. What did the Roman...
And see, these Edomites don't realize that this is the Roman Empire reincarnated.
Romans do with the Greek city-states. The Europeans are effectively the equivalent of the Greek city-states. Eventually, the Romans said, thank you very much. You're going to behave yourselves. You're going to stop fighting with each other. You're not going to start any wars because it's bad for business. and it stopped, and the Greeks became part of the larger Roman Empire, and there was peace for hundreds of years as a result. He needs to stand up, and if he talks about
exactly what he's done. So you can see it, that those are like the Greek city-states, the Germanic tribes. America is like the Roman Empire, because that's who they are. America is the reincarnation of the Roman Empire. Those European countries are the 10 horns. They are those Germanic tribes and those Greek city-states that goes back to during the times of the Romans. They're just back, everything's back here in the reincarnation because it's Bible prophecy. So he was making it clear. So when we go back to here, when it says here, back to Revelations 13 and 11, it says, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, right? And he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon, Babylon the Great, America, all right? Clearly speaking like a dragon, clearly. You'd have to be deaf, dumb, and blind to not see that today. And he exercises all the power of the first beast, beast before him, which is the 4th beast in the book of Daniel, which is the Roman Empire. That's exactly what Colonel Douglas was telling you. We are the de facto, the Roman Empire. The spirit must have jumped.
I don't know why they don't understand that, because in this military college called West Point, which is about, 50, 60 miles from New York City, from maybe the Bronx, maybe a little more from Manhattan. In West Point Military College, they teach you about Roman history. You can't add 1 and 1 and figure out that, wait a minute, this is Rome all over again.
After them, I say, I'm going to make him speak some truth, but that man speaks a lot of truth anyway. He just doesn't know it's Bible prophecy. And that's what we're here for. We're here to show you that what's taking place is Bible prophecy. And he causes the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, literally, whose deadly wound was healed. Whose deadly wound was healed, right? Because that's the Roman Empire come back again as America, Babylon the Great. And, these Europeans are under that same ethos. They're under that Roman Empire, but they are more vassal states to Rome. Rome is like America itself. And these are the different vassal states under that Roman Empire, these European nations. All right? And then it says, and he does great wonders, so that he makes fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. Absolutely. That's his aerial power. His air power. That's what America does. The first thing they do when they invade a country, they send in their bombers and their fighter jets to what was he threatening Iran with? To bomb it back to the Stone Ages, right? He make his fire come down from heaven. That's America. That's Esau per se, because Esau has that power. He has these fighter jets, these bomber jets. He has these nuclear weapons, these weapons of destruction. So the Spirit just made them say what they said, right? But that's the times that we...
His miracles. That's his technology, his weapons.
Are living in. Just so you understand, those are the times that we are living in. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there, because I just kind of want to touch on that. And let's bring that to the forefront just to show you, man, that we are truly living in those times. All right? And it's all Bible prophecy. And a lot of stuff you see going on in the secular world, unless you know the scriptures, you won't realize that what these men are speaking, they are speaking prophetic prophecies, but they themselves don't know, because they are not prophets. We are the true prophets of the Most High God, Yahweh, and the Son, Yahweh Shai, starting from the apostles of Great Millstone going down. And there are other camps out there that come from One West that are speaking on this truth. They may not have the 100% truth, but they are speaking on this truth, partly on this truth. So the prophets are out there, but we got the 100% truth. And we said it with a humble spirit. So anyway, I pray you're edified. As always, all praise and glory to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, to his only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and to the elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to you and shalom to the elect. As I always say, keep praying, keep safe, repent, and hold on to this truth. Our warfare is spiritual, not carnal. Shalom, shalom, shalom.
Why do billionaires buy paintings for millions of dollars that look like absolute shit? Like, this sold for $50 million? Bro, my little cousin could paint that. Yeah, and it still saved me millions in taxes. Wait, what? Yeah, To us, it's not art, it's a financial weapon. How? Let's say that this year, the IRS sends me a tax bill of $80 million. Pain. So instead of paying that, I go shopping for paintings? Exactly. I buy one of these masterpieces for around $50 million. Then I store it somewhere special. Where? A free port. Basically, a high security warehouse where rich people hide art and ignore most tax rules. So the painting just sits there, tax free? Yep. Now comes the interesting part. I put the painting up for auction, and art auctions are funny like that. They magically push the price up. How much? Usually 30 to 40% higher. So my $50 million painting is suddenly worth $80 million. Okay, but if you sell it, don't you pay taxes? That's the trick. I don't sell it. I donate it. Donate? Yeah, I give it to a museum. And guess what happens next? The IRS gives me a tax write-off for the full $80 million value. So that tax bill from the beginning? Gone. So you didn't pay the IRS and still look like a good guy? Exactly. I look like a generous, art-loving billionaire. The museum gets attention, and the system gets played. So that's why these ugly paintings cost so much. Yeah, because to billionaires, it's not art, it's strategy. Welcome to the art of wealth, where money moves quietly.
See how these devils think? You see how these devils think? Okay, let's see what this is all about.
I got a message for my religious people and my Hebrew Israelites and my Christians. To those people who are waiting on the kingdom to come, to those people who are waiting on the Messiah or Mashiach to come, to those people who are waiting on the rapture or the sky to crack, to those people who constantly say what we're doing is worthless and, it don't make no sense for us to do anything because all of this is getting ready to end. I got a message for y'all. Why y'all waiting on the kingdom to come? Why y'all waiting on the sky to crack? Why y'all waiting on the Savior to return, so on and so forth? Why y'all waiting? You better get busy tapping into these digital products. Because listen, you got to go to work for your 9-to-5, your corporate slave master. You got to go to your corporate slave job to make ends meet. You got to work and punch into your corporate 9-to-5 to feed your family. So miss me with all that. While you're waiting, tap into other streams of income to support your family. Maybe you can make it to 6 figures while you're waiting. Because you don't know what day or hour that's going to happen while you're trying to front. Y'all be empowered and wait.
All praise to Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Double honor to the apostles and elders of GMS. Shalom to the hopefully elect. This is going to be a response to hustle while you wait for the kingdom. Okay? And that's just a tentative title. All right? That I'm responding to this video. Damn. There's a woman here that did this video. And at first I just kind of listened to it. I wasn't really going to respond to it. But as I, pondered on it, I said I might as well do a quick response. Because she mentioned in Hebrew Israelites, Christians, and all of that, right? I got a message for my religious people. And I may title it that, a message for my religious people. So basically, the point of the video was for her, she was saying that if you're waiting on the rapture or the Messiah to come back and all of this, it's really a commercial. Hustle while you wait, digital products, right? And, a lot of people have this attitude. And at the end of the day, you're not supposed to be so heavenly minded you're no earthly good. Sure, you got to work to take care of your family, pay bills and all of this and all of that, right? But the greater part of your being is dedicated to watching for the kingdom. That's what the Lord said. The Lord said, watch, right? He told you to watch. So while you do supposed to work, you're supposed to have, income and take care of the house and all of that. Not supposed to be a bum, but at the same time, none of us are trying to get no six-digit income. I mean, it'd be great if some $100,000 would just fall out of the damn sky, sure, but it's not gonna happen. All right. So I just got a few scriptures here, because this right here is just a commercial from the devil, basically trying to distract you. The scriptures tell you not to get caught up in the affairs of this life so that it choke the word. Right? This is Matthew 13 and 22. It says, He also that received seed among the thorns is he that heareth the word, and the care of this world and the deceitfulness of riches choke the word, and he becometh unfruitful. And that's where you don't want to be. You have to be very careful when you see these types of messages. We just had a dude fell out of the camp because he wanted to take 4 weeks off pursuing some damn job. And these digital products is no different than that. You know.
Yeah. Now, if you can make money and do a side gig and not have to work for Esau and do your little thing, go ahead and do it. Nothing wrong with it, but don't let it get in the way of the truth. The individual that said he needed 4 weeks off, hey, you can take 4 weeks off as long as you're doing videos. You won't be in a camp for 4 weeks because you got this training, but you constantly making videos. There ain't nothing wrong with that. There ain't nothing wrong with that. You're constantly making videos. You're in this training program, but you're making the same amount of videos you always made. Oh, I'm just gonna put the truth in a box and put it in the closet for 4 weeks. You ain't did it says putting that off from day to day. Give me a second. Putting that off from day to day. See if it comes up. I'll find it. Bear with me for a minute. Apocrypha. Okay. Ecclesiasticus 5 verse 7. Make no tarrying to turn to Yahweh, and put not off from day to day, for suddenly shall the wrath of Yahweh come forth, and in thy security thou shalt be destroyed and perish in the day of vengeance. So, I mean, it explains itself. Putting that off from day to day. If you, like I said, if you had a particular training that you had to go through for this, I'm working on this job, I got to do training, and you say, I won't be able to come at the camp, but I'm going to be doing videos. And you go to a place, it might be after your training, you go to the park somewhere, you do a half an hour video, you do a walk and talk. You got a lunch break, you get a 45 minutes lunch break, you take your 5 minutes to eat your food, sit in your car. You made a video for anywhere from half an hour to 45 minutes. You wake up in the morning, you wake up an hour early before you go to work. First thing you do, you make a video. You might do a live with other brothers. Oh, I'm just going to put this, hey, you put this to the side and the Lord come. The scriptures say, blessed is he how's it go? When I find occupying. Well, it says occupy until I come. That's a better scripture. Occupy until I come. So let's come on back. So if you got a little side thing that you can do when you don't got to work for Esau no more, you making a little money on the web or whatever the case may be, don't get greedy and well, I'm backed up. I got back orders. So I won't be out here for the next 2 months because I got back orders. Because you made enough money, but you saw things in the world. You guys that be buying jewelry and stuff that you don't need. Scriptures, Apostle Paul said, using the world and not abusing it.
But you gotta, as the scriptures say, use the world as not abusing it. Right? Let me grab that real quick. As not abusing. That's what you're to do, because a lot of people get caught up in that. Then you start focusing on your money more. If you get, trust me, if you get a 6-digit job, you're gonna be worried about that more than you worry about the truth.
Oh hell yeah! You're gonna be kissing. You're gonna specialize in kissing the boss ass, so you can get them fat checks.
Okay, or if you start making 6 digits, then all your time.
And then if you're out there in the street and you got a certain job where you're making good money and the boss sees you, there goes that job. No, you got a good job. You're making good money, but you're scared to go in the boss. The boss might see me. And I worked at certain jobs. I worked at one job where the small so-called owned it, and we used to salute each other. Half of Israel was at that damn job. We used to salute, salute each other, the full salute and all that, man. Them bosses didn't give a shit. As long as you was making the money, you can do it. You can be. They knew who we were. You know, there's one boss. He said he reminded me of. He looked like fucking Vocab. You know, he's Italian too. And he said, "You're in a movement. What movement are you? You're in the movement." I said, "I don't know what you're talking." He said, "Yes, you are. You're in a movement." Fucking Freddie.
Gonna be consumed.
And that dude was just a saying. Shit talking Sicilian.
With trying to keep up with that damn money. Worrying about where it's going. How's it being spent? This is 1 Corinthians 7:29. But this I say, brethren, the time is short, and it remaineth that both they that have wives be as though they had none. See, you gotta put things in perspective. And they that weep as though they wept not, and they that rejoice as though they rejoice not, and they that...
You can't serve God and mammon. You can't serve the Most High and money. Mammon is Latin for money. Because some guys some guys have to get two or three jobs because they live in a certain lifestyle. They don't want to live in a hood. You got the hood, you got the hood, and you got it better than the hood. So you ain't living in, and I don't blame you. Don't live in the hood, but live in the hood. You know? But you want to live a certain lifestyle where you're living in a luxury apartment and you got a whip that you got to pay, $600 a month to keep that whip going because of your image. That's called you got to downgrade, man. You want to live like the world. You want to look like the world.
That buy as though they possess not, and they that use this world as not abusing it, for the fashion of this world passeth away. You see?
Yeah, like I was talking to Manat Zakba, and he was doing, I guess he was doing Uber deliveries. So Bishop Sakaran said, my elder Manat, Bishop Manat Zakba, elder bishop. So I said, yeah, what is he doing? He's working. I said, he said he's kind of uptight. He's making some extra money. I said, all he had to do is call. I said, give me the phone. Call him back. I said, brother, what you need? Some money? Brother, we give you some money. You got a backed up bill. We'll give you the money. We'll give it to you tonight. He said, nah, I don't need no money. I'm just doing it just to be doing it, brother. I started laughing. And I said, because I used to do the same thing. And now, the thing about doing that type of job, picking up, delivering even people, there's women that you pick up and they flirt, And there's some good-looking women. I mean, if you go out there to get you a woman, you can find a woman, driving for... that's a topic right there. You can find a fine woman driving for Uber and Lyft, So I said, brother, I see why you're doing what you're doing, Anyway, let's listen.
And you get caught up in trying to get, sell digital products. Pretty soon, the digital product that you're going to be looking at is that damn RFID chip. It's going to be in your damn hand.
You're going to have to sell that, nigga.
Because what you going to do if you earn 6 digits, right? Then they come in and implement the chip. Now what you going to do? You're going to have to take...
You're going to make an excuse as to that not being the chip. You guys are wrong. That ain't what it's talking about, Ak. And plus, I got 3 kids and my wife is pregnant. And I can't go back to working for Wendy's, man, for $10 an hour. I'm making good money. I'm making $50 an hour. I got medical, dental. I got 4-week vacation. I got all kind of perks. They gave me a company car. But then to access all of that, I got corporate housing. To access all of that, I need that chip. You're going to take that chip, and then that's your ass. Like I said, we're going to see who's real and who's not. That applies to me and anybody else. From the apostles on down. Anybody can get weak and say, fuck that, I'm taking. And then you can say, the GMS was wrong. This ain't the MOTB. This is just a chip. It had nothing to do with the MOTB. You niggas is wrong. That's why I left the camp, and I'm now with the IUIC.
Take the chip in order to keep the 6 digits, to keep all the money. You're better off letting the Lord provide what you need. And don't get me wrong, he can do that many ways, by giving you a job, letting you work, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the greater focus of yours is supposed to be on this ministry. You ain't got time to be chasing after no fucking 6 digits. What you gonna buy anyway? I contemplated many times since I've been in the truth, what would I even do if I came into a bunch of money? I don't even know what I would do with it.
The easiest thing to do is give it away. Give it away, hold it, whatever the case may be. If I came into $10 million, brothers are going to be taken care of for sure. For sure. Because I like living on the edge any fucking way. You think I'm going to live like fucking Floyd Mayweather? I like living on the edge.
You can only buy so many shoes, so many clothes, so much cars. Where you going to go that you're going to wear all of that? See, money creates more problems for you than a little bit, whether you know it or not.
That's in the scriptures.
You just need your daily bread. You need enough to pay your bills, to live, decently where you're not in poverty, and that's it. And the scriptures even tell you that. Let's go there real quick.
Proverbs 30.
Let's go there. Proverbs 30, I believe it is. Let's see if we can find that.
Proverbs 30, I believe it's the 8th verse.
Look at that. Completely wrong. Salakia, brothers. Proverbs 30.
Here we go.
Let's see if I got it. Yeah. Proverbs 30 and verse 7. 2 things have I required of thee. Deny me them not before I die. Remove far from me vanity and lies. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with food convenient for me, lest I be full and deny thee and say, who is the Lord? Or lest I be poor and steal and take the name of my God in vain. Riches can be a curse, especially now. You and that's in the truth. And don't get me wrong, I'm not misquoting what she said. She didn't say nothing about riches, but she mentioned 6 digits, right? If you had $100,000 right now, to live in the way that we live, you would be really up. That's damn near being rich. In our world, $100,000, just to pay bills with, shit, that'll put you up for a while. See? So don't labor. As the scriptures say, labor not to be rich. So we read those. Let's go on here. This is 2 Timothy. I'm going to hit these quick. 2 Timothy 2:1. Thou therefore, my son, be strong in the grace that is in Hamashiach Yahushua. And the things that thou hast heard of me among many witnesses, the same commit thou to faithful men who shall be able to teach others also. You got a lot to do. Getting more money is going to present a problem for you. If you got enough, be thankful for what you got. Okay? Be thankful for what you got. Don't go chasing, pipe dreams and go chasing money like that. Now, at the end of the day, you may say, well, I'm a grown man. I want to give. Okay, you're exactly right. You're a grown-ass man. Go do what you want to do. We talking to the faithful believers. Thou, therefore, endure hardness as a good soldier of your...
Bottom line is, this is your first priority. So we can get out of here. I want to be on the good side, the right side of the Most High. That's why we do all we got to do. Tomorrow we'll be out there on the highways and the byways. All the rest of the week we'll be doing videos. Anyway, I'm going to say shalom. Watch the rest of this. On to the next. Shalom.